and watch the Denver Broncos meet their opponents in the exciting, explosive, thrilling American League each fall. Their stadium, where tens of thousands viewed some of the most entertaining football played anywhere. Their stadium, where such stars were born as Frank Tripucka, Lionel Taylor, Al Carmichael, Gene Mingo, Goose Gonsolin, Bud McFadden of Denver. Their stadium, where a hard-nosed, experienced combination of general manager Dean Griffin and head coach Frank Filchak fashion a violent and shattering football team from over 200 candidates who started head-knocking for jobs in July of 1960. Now let's review Denver's first experience in professional football as exemplified by the American Football League. The season opened on a warm, pleasant night just a stone's throw from the hallowed halls of Harvard University as the Broncos and the Boston Patriots played the first game in regular season competition ever performed in the American Football League. To Al Carmichael, former University of Southern California star, went the honor of scoring the initial touchdown in the new circuit. It was a 41-yard flat pass play from quarterback Tripucka which enabled the Broncos to score on the first play in the second quarter after the Patriots had kicked a field goal midway in the first period. Then in the third quarter, Gene Mingo electrified the crowd of better than 20,000 with a magnificent 76-yard punt return down the sidelines, and a late Boston touchdown resulted in a final score of Denver 13 and Boston 10. Nine days later in War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, New York, the Broncos' alert pass defense results in a total of 6 pass interceptions, 4 of them, incidentally, by halfback Goose Gonsolin, who goes on to snare 11 of them for the season to lead the league in that department. But the climactic one comes midway through the fourth quarter when Johnny Pyatt nabs a Tommy O'Connell pass on the Bills' 40 and goes all the way for the winning score as the Broncos triumph 27-21. Five days later, the Broncos conclude their Eastern tour with a storybook finish in reverse at the Polo Grounds against the Titans of New York. It was an unbelievable finish as the Broncos led 24-21 with 24 seconds to play when a blocked punt results in a loose ball. Roger Donahue pounces on it and runs into the end zone. The conversion is good. There are 15 seconds to play, and the Titans win 28-24. Early in the second quarter, lightning struck the Raiders as the Broncos moved to the Raiders' 12-yard line with a third down, 6 to go. Suddenly, Tripucka hit in Lionel Taylor with a pass in the end zone, and Denver moved ahead to stay. But that was merely a start. 11 plays later, Al Romine intercepts a Babe Parilli pass on the Denver 26 and brings it back to the Bronco 44. Then the magic combination of the T-Boys, Tripucka to Taylor, results in another touchdown. Immediately after the kickoff, Bill Yelverton snares a Flores pass in the flat and waltzes 20 yards for the touchdown. 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes, 36 seconds. After an Oakland third quarter score, Tripucka moved the Broncos again. After a fumble recovery, 2 line plays moved the ball to the Denver 43. Fullback Dave Raleigh swings around the left side and tightropes down the sidelines for 57 yards and a touchdown, and the final score reads Denver 31, Oakland 14. Following a bye in the schedule, Coach Sid Gilman brought his Los Angeles Chargers to the stadium. In the second quarter, with the Chargers leading 10-6, Taylor plucks off a sensational catch of a Trapuka pass, and Mingo splits the uprights for a 10-9 halftime score. Late in the third quarter, Paul Lowe, the magnificent Los Angeles halfback, embarks on a 44-yard run to put the Invaders into a 23-9 lead. But the Broncos give evidence of their comeback powers then and there as Carmichael returns the kickoff from the end zone to the Charger 28. Field goal follows, and a later fumble recovery results in a touchdown, but the Broncos go on to a heartbreaking 23-19 defeat. Suddenly the complexion changes as Denver drives from its 20-yard line, and on the 14th play, Carmichael clutches a Trapuka pass in the end zone for the first Denver score, with the clock showing 2:51 to play in the third period. A Boston fumble on the first play after the kickoff gives the Denvers the ball on the Boston 24. And 3 plays later, Trapuka hits end Bill Jessup from the 19 for the second touchdown in less than 2 minutes, and it's a 24-14 game. After an exchange of punts, Denver takes over on its 35. Raleigh takes a swing pass for a 10-yard gain. And now Taylor takes a flat pass, laterals to Carmichael, who goes all the way, and with 9 minutes plus left in the game, the Broncos trail by only 3 points. This lasts only moments as halfback Bob McNamara picks off Butch Songen's pass on the first play after the kickoff and brings it down to the Boston 4. And 1 play later, the tripper hits Taylor in the end zone, and Denver, with just over 8 minutes to play, has taken the lead. It was 4 touchdowns for the remarkable Broncos in 9.5 minutes, but it's not over as the Broncos intercept another Songen pass following the kickoff, and Mingo picks up 3 points on a 9-yard field goal. Another exchange of punts follows, and the Patriots make it a dying gasp. Songen, back on his own 11, completes a long pass to Jim Colclough on the Denver 28 with less than 30 seconds to play. 2 incomplete passes, then a complete one to the 22, and on the final play, McNamara intercepts a desperation toss in the end zone as the game ends. A fantastic game won by the Broncos, 31-24, as the national TV audience watched the proceedings, and the nation's football fans agreed the American Football League had come of age. Two drives by former All-American Jack Spikes of TCU result in a Dallas 7-0 lead. This is short-lived, however, as a few seconds later, Trapuka passes over the middle to Taylor for a first down on the Dallas 47. And then Carmichael breaks through the line, then cuts back to go all the way to tie the game as the first quarter ends. After the Texans score again with a touchdown and a field goal, The Broncos attempt to emulate their previous week's comeback. Deep in their own territory on the Bronco 18 with 3rd and 16, Trapuka passes to Carmichael, who moves to the 40. And 2 plays later, the Tripper hits McNamara from the Denver 45. He cuts back and down the western sidelines, eludes would-be tackler Carl Zaruba, and goes for the score to make it 17-14 with 8:48 left to play. A last-second field goal attempt, which goes awry from the Texan 29, almost enabled the Broncos to tie this one, but the final was Dallas 17, Denver 14. The Eastern Division leader Houston came to Denver, and scoring was on a wholesale basis. Late in the third quarter, Mingo connected for a 34-yard field goal, which made it Houston 31, Denver 18. After stopping Houston, Denver took over following a punt and drove to the Oiler 26, where Tripp passes down to Carmichael. Al faked Tony Banfield beautifully and went in for the touchdown to make it 31-25. 3 plays later, the fabulous Billy Cannon drives through the middle for a 10-yard gain, and Doug Smith from Little Ripon College takes a draw, cuts back on Bill Groman's fine block, and goes all the way as Houston wins 45-25 in another thriller. A real razzle-dazzle play, typifying the American Football League when Cotton Davidson pitches out to Abner Haynes. Haynes then laterals to Davidson on a ball that hits the ground first and fires a long pass into the end zone, where Curly Johnson makes a fine catch as McNamara narrowly misses an interception. Texas won 34-7. Immediately after the kickoff, Jackie Lee, substituting for the injured George Blanda, completes a pass to Bill Groman for 78 yards and a touchdown. Now in the second quarter, with the ball on the Houston 8-yard line, the Oilers have a 3rd and 18 when Lee again desperately fires to Groman, who goes all the way 92 yards for an American Football League record. A few moments later in the second quarter, Lee of Cincinnati passes to Charlie Hennigan of Northwest Louisiana for 73 yards, and the final Houston score of the game. Ironically, these 3 passes of the 7 attempts by Lee in the first half were the only completions. Now it's the third quarter, and McNamara intercepts a Lee pass, laterals to Romine, and the Broncos take over on the Oiler 46. In rapid succession, Trapuka hits Taylor for 20 yards. Now hits Carpenter for 26. But the final score reads Houston 20, Denver 10 in a classic game. Suddenly, on the first play after the kickoff, with the ball on the Denver 20, Trapuka throws to Taylor, who embarks on this spectacular run for an 80-yard gallop and a touchdown with 19 minutes and 16 seconds left to play in the game. Following an exchange of punts, the Broncos now have the ball 3rd and 10 on their own 35. Quickly, the Tripper connects with Greer to the Buffalo 43. and now hits Brodnax to the 24. Then comes a screen pass to Taylor, and suddenly it's 38-21. Incidentally, during that third period, Frank Filchak, disturbed by the lack of protection furnished his ace quarterback, has installed two fullbacks, Don Allen and Brodnax, as blocking backs for the veteran general. Again, the Broncos take over after a Bills punt, this time 2nd and 10 on the Bill 43. Greer grabs this one for 8. Allen is stopped for no gain on a pitch-out. Now it's Trapuka to Taylor, who makes a one-handed catch and scores to make it 38-28 with less than 8.5 minutes to play. After the kickoff, Buffalo again fails to move the ball, and now it's the Bronx ball on the Buffalo 10, 3rd down. Tripp hits Taylor, who is out of bounds on the 1. And Allen, Trapuka, and Allen again on line plunges for the touchdown. And there are but 3 points separating the clubs with 4 minutes, 25 seconds left to play. Buffalo doesn't move the ball, and Denver takes a punt on its own 34. And on 3rd down, Tripp hits Taylor to the Buffalo 45. Pass interference against Matsos is called on the 31. Then Greer grabs one at the 20. Carpenter takes one to the 12. 2 incomplete passes ensue, and it's 3rd down on the Bills' 12 with but 9 seconds to play when Mingo goes back to the 19 for the field goal try, which splits the post with 4 seconds left on the clock. And it's a 38-38 tie, the only deadlock in American Football League history. With 2nd and 6 from their own 49, Al Dorrell, the former Michigan State star, hits Don Maynard, who goes to the Denver 8. Dewey Bowling picks up 3 yards. And Dorrell throws to Art Powell for the score. On the first play after the kickoff, Trapuka's pass is deflected, and Don Mumley grabs it off and goes 26 yards for the 2nd New York tally. In the middle of the 3rd quarter, New York leads 21-7, and the Broncos have a 2nd and 10 on their own 27. Taylor takes a Trapuka aerial to the Denver 42. And now Carpenter takes one to the New York 40. This next pass finds Taylor being tripped, and a pass interference call gives the Broncos a 1st down on the Titan 8. A screen pass to Raleigh loses 7, but Lionel Taylor grabs the next one in the end zone, and it's 21-14. The Titans pick up a field goal and a touchdown and lead 30-14 when the Broncos begin to roll again, this time with a 4th down and 4 on the New York 46. Greer takes a pass to the 38. Taylor takes this one to the 27. Larry Grantham intercepts a Trapuka pass on the 7, slips, gets up, and is hit with savagery by Gene Mingo. He fumbles, and Mingo recovers as Grantham is out cold and has to be carried off the field. It was possibly the hardest single tackle of the year. On this next play, Tripp passes to Mingo in the left flat for a touchdown. A few moments later, after a pass interception by Skip Doyle, the Broncos move to the New York 7, where Taylor takes a Trapuka pass for the final score of the day, and the Titans triumph in another squeaker, 30-27. It's on to sunny California to wind up the season, and the gigantic Coliseum is the scene of the Charger-Bronco game on Saturday, December 10th. Denver wastes no time as they take the opening kickoff and move downfield, where Mingo connects for a 41-yard field goal. After the kickoff, the Chargers forced to punt from their own 23. McNamara gathers it in on the 32 and returns to midfield. On the first play, Raleigh gains 1. And on the next play, Trapuka passes to Taylor for a touchdown. The Chargers react accordingly. After the kickoff, Jack Kemp passes to Don Norton to the Denver 39. Kemp hits Howie Ferguson, who scores the first touchdown for the Chargers. Following a fumble recovery on the Denver 32, Kemp is back to pass. He elects to run and goes to the Denver 7. Paul Lowe then goes through the middle for 4. And then Lowe goes over right guard for the touchdown. So with only 6 minutes and 5 seconds elapsed in the game, it's Los Angeles 14 and Denver 10. Here's a one-time-a-season play as Gene Mingo takes a kickoff on the goal line, and only one man stands between him and pay dirt at the Denver 47. It's old Ben Agajanian, the kicking specialist for the Chargers, and Ben delivers by coming through with the only tackle he makes the entire season. Halfway through the third period, Denver takes over after a punt on the Los Angeles 45. Trapuka throws to Mingo for a first down on the 33. And then to Greer for another on the 21. Greer now makes this sensational catch for a touchdown after it's touched by 2 Chargers, and the Broncos lead 30-24. At the start of the fourth quarter, it's a third down play for Denver. On a trap, picks up 11 yards and a first down. Taylor takes a pass to the Denver 44. Now Carpenter makes the grab, which carries to the Charger 24. Raleigh picks up 5. The 2 incomplete passes set the stage for a 28-yard field goal by Mingo, and the Broncos lead 33-27. The Chargers come back with 2 more touchdowns, but it was a thriller all the way as the Western Division champions win 41-33. But this was a memorable game because Lionel Taylor set a new professional record for pass receptions as he broke Tommy Fear's previous mark. Taylor went on to catch 92 passes for the 12 games in which he played. The final game was against the Oakland Raiders in Candlestick Park in San Francisco, and although the Broncos lost 48-10, it emphasized the unpredictability of America's newest major sports league, ready, willing, and able to open its 1961 season with even greater expectations than its inaugural season. Although Denver won 4, lost 9, and tied 1, there were many satisfying features in the season. First and foremost was the enthusiasm which greeted professional football in this growing area of the nation. Then there were many individual accomplishments, which, coupled with the addition from the 1960 college crop, indicates a much greater 1961 season for Bronco fans. As an example, Quarterback Frank Tripucka paced the league in completions with 248, yards gained passing with 3,038, and percentage with .519. Taylor's 92 pass receptions, Goose Gonsolin's 11 interceptions to lead the circuit, and Gene Mingo's 123 points, tops in the league. These then were the Broncos for 1960. Their best plays, their highlights, their wins, and their losses.
The kickoff. Football League is in Boston. September 9th, 1960 sees the first game in the new Professional Football League at Boston University Field. Fast action, skill, and precision teamwork bring spectacular thrills to the fans. Professional football at its exciting best. The Boston Patriots mean many things to the city and its far-flung suburbs. Entertainment with an accent on great sportsmanship that brings with it excitement and the economic benefits of increased business, as well as added prestige for all New England. But all this didn't happen by chance. There's a history of events. The American Football League was conceived in Texas in January 1959, born in Chicago in August 1960. Boston became the 8th team in the league in November. A talent hunt brought into the Patriot camp some of the best players from both pro and college teams across the country. A head coach and a top coaching staff assembled, and the myriad tasks of whipping a new team into shape began. Training, practice, exhibition games. The important problem of a home field was solved through the cooperation of the city of Boston and Boston University. And a permanent place to practice in the historic town of Concord. The sports public was enthusiastic. The press, too. Everyone was up to it. And behind it all, the million-dollar backing of 10 New England businessmen, sportsmen to a man. The 10 owners, with Director William Kemble, representing some 1,600 loyal fans who bought non-voting stock in the club, meet frequently on policy and financial matters. They're well known in sports and business circles. Men like the little professor, Dom DiMaggio, Joseph E. Sullivan of Lowell, Dean Boylan of Milton, Hotel Executive Paul Sonnebeck, Edgar L. Turner of the 7-Up Corporation, George L. Sargent of Dover, Edward McMahon from Down Main, Director William Kemble, Daniel F. Marr, a former Braves backer, and William Sullivan, president of the Boston Patriots, whose dream of pro football in Boston brought these men together in equal partnership. Game time on Friday night, and the crowds gather at the ticket windows at Boston University Field, pass through the gates, and enter into the excitement of professional football. Tonight promises a thrilling contest, with the Patriots playing the Dallas Texans, a crucial game in the series. Baron Hugo, the popular band leader, keeps the fans entertained right up to the toss for goal. The Patriots took a fast lead in the first half to score 13-0 with the ball on their own 45-yard line. It's Butch Songen to Miller. Miller out of bounds on the 50-yard line. With 5 minutes left in the half, the Patriots still in possession. Songen looking for his receiver. It's Colquo in Dallas territory, down on the 46-yard line. In the next 3 minutes, the Patriots drive down the field. and it's the Patriots' ball on the 8-yard line. Songen fakes, looks for a receiver, and it's away to Jimmy Colclough in the end zone for the touchdown. A beautiful fake with Christie pulling the defense to the right. Patriots 19, Dallas nothing. The Patriots converted, and Dallas took the kickoff. Driving back. Until now, just seconds to go in the half. Dallas on the half-yard line. Ennis carrying. He made it, and the Texans break the ice. The half ended with the Patriots out in front, 20-7.
Halftime at Patriots games is a showcase for talent in the greater Boston area. Bands, drill teams, entertainment. This is the famous Boston Latin School Band. These young ladies are from Roslindale High. It's a little cool out there even for synthetic grass skirts, but the fans love it. In the Patriots locker room at halftime, there's an opportunity for trainers to check the players. The fellows relax. A conference between the coach and the quarterback, and a little refreshment for energy. But there's no letdown, and the players are ready to go back in the field to steamroll the next touchdown. It's a fighting team of Patriots coming out for the second half.
In the third quarter, third down, 7 to go. Patriots ball on their 37. Christie and Miller in the backfield. Songen's pass to Johnson. That's Christie coming around for the handoff. Down to the 41-yard line. Not quite enough for a first down, but the Patriots are on their way. A few plays later, 1st and 10 on the down pass. This time to Christie on the 6-yard line, but Smokey Stover right there to stop him. It's 2nd and goal to go for the Boston Patriots. Cappelletti replaces Jimmy Colclough. Songen's pass this time to Joe Johnson in the end zone for the touchdown. And it's the Patriots ball game, 26-7 in the third quarter. Cappelletti will attempt the extra point. It's a fake, a pitch out to Cappelletti. Runs the right side, and he's over for 2 points. After intercepting a pass in the third quarter, the Patriots take over on the 45. The handoff to Christie. Christie doesn't run, he throws to Tommy Stevens. Down the sidelines, it's good. With a score 28-7, Patriots ball on the 25. The handoff to Crawford, and he breaks free around the right side. Look at him go all the way. The Wyoming Cowboy, Jimmy Crawford, in a sensational 38-yard touchdown run. In the last quarter, the score 42-7. No longer a question of who, only by how much. Dallas ball on the 5-yard line. Davidson to Abner Haynes. Cappelletti drops him on the 3-yard line. 1 minute left to play in the game, and the Dallas threat just to close the gap. Robinson and Burford flanking for Dallas. Davidson handoff to Spikes, and he's over for a touchdown. Dallas converted, making it Patriots 42, the Texans 14. It's a jubilant crowd, and they want more. Less than a minute to play. Curly Johnson kicking off for Dallas. High and end over end. Ron Burton on the 10-yard line, and he's off. Watch him go. 25, 30. Into Dallas territory, and Joe Bookman finally brings him down from behind on the 35. A 65-yard run back. Final score, Patriots 42, the Texans 14.
A wild finish and a game won. It's a happy team that leaves the playing field this night through a crowd of enthusiastic fans that spilled out onto the field to congratulate their favorites. And in the locker room after the game, high humor and high jinks to work off the excitement and the tension. But win or lose, after every game the Patriots play, Lou Saban calls for this moment of silent prayer.
Many of the Patriot players have taken up permanent residence in Greater Boston. The historic town of Concord is home to Captain Tony Sardisco. Tony follows the financial news with close interest. He and his family have been living in Concord since he was signed by the Patriots last year. This is little Madeline at 9 months. She's interested in everything that goes on. If this is a party, she wants an invitation. Mrs. Sardisco is the former Julie Tutko of Linden, New Jersey. Now, with a little bit of help from the professional, little Madeline makes a try for a first down. The National Guard Armory in Concord, where fighting Patriots have met before, is the Boston Patriots practice headquarters. Here the chalk talk, pep talk, and straight from the shoulder talk of Patriots coaches whips the team into shape. The mistakes in the last game they played are underscored and corrections made. The strength and weakness of the next opponent is explored, and the strategy designed to lead to victory is planned.
We're going to make some adjustments on our special teams. We're going to have to work on them
Lou
today.
Saban is a hard-working coach. He means business. So when he talks to the players, he lays it on the line.
Now, Lee is a different type thrower. Lee goes for the deep shots. And I think that in the case of Blanda, he goes for the short stuff, as was shown in the LA game. So we'll go to work and see if we can't set up two types of defenses, at least two different ideas of thinking against Lee and one against Blanda. On the PAT, we're going to make one change. Tony more than likely will be in the offensive line. So consequently, Lofton go to the right end spot, Bob D move over to the left end spot. Those are the changes. We're going to work on them today. So we'll take a look at this film and go to work.
Movies of the games, their own and those of their opponents with other teams, help the men study the offensive and defensive tactics they'll face and determine what happens on the practice field. Later across the street. Then there's kicking and passing practice, ball handling and running. Not just good, it's got to be the best. Coach Jerry Smith puts the defensive men through their paces and discusses their problems. Then it's into formation and run some plays. This is the kind of opponents the rest of the league faces. Big, fast, and good. Butch Songen takes it from center, lets one go, and connects. The nerve center of the Patriots Ball Club is in Kenmore Square, Boston. Here the vast detailed organizational business is carried on. The purchasing, correspondence, publicity, travel arrangements, tickets. Pretty receptionist Marilyn Sanford keeps the correspondence rolling out. And Joan Parker's is the voice you may hear when you call Congress 2-1776. It's rumored that ticket manager John Fitzgerald will accept your order for season tickets just about any time. General manager Ed McKeever is an old hand at football problems. Anything from getting a new player to flying the team all over the country. Flying is a large part of the Patriots' schedule. California, Colorado, Texas, and New York are on the schedule for home games at the other American Football League clubs. Wives and sweethearts see the players off. This time to Buffalo, then Dallas and Houston before they return home. That's 4 weeks away. Passing time on a plane trip is filled in many ways. This group of football players elects a somewhat less rigorous sport for fun. Patriots of halfback Fred Bruni swap stories of other days. Leo made a name for himself at Indiana University. Bruni from Ohio State saw service with the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. 6 years of professional football. Ed Butch Songen is a Boston College grad and a veteran of professional and semi-professional football since 1950. With the Patriots last season, he connected with 187 passes for 2,476 yards and 22 touchdowns. The coach's work is never done, so head coach Lou Saban and offensive line coach Bob Miller kick around a few facts and figures that may help in the Buffalo game. Lou Saban came to Boston after coaching 3 successful seasons at Western Illinois University. In pro football, he was captain of the championship Cleveland Brown team for 4 years. Bob Miller was with Saban at Western Illinois. Defensive backfield coach Joe Collier from Northwestern in conversation with Dan Marr. Patriots president Bill Sullivan was along with his wife Mary. And of course, there are those who sleep in airplanes. "12 inches of snow got there first for reserve seats. The white drifts covered every seat in the Buffalo Stadium and drifted on the field. But that stopped neither the crowds nor the pregame practice of the Patriots. The pros play in all kinds of weather. And practice too, because practice is the mortar that puts a team together. The integration of specialists with the basic play formations. And then there's the business of getting the feel of a new ballpark. Food is an important part of a player's training. The right food to keep him in top physical condition. Before the game, every player gets the attention of a trainer. Bandages for support where they may be necessary. Heat treatment, massage. Then it's in a uniform with a little help and out on the field to limber up. This last-minute practice of the field goal specialists may pay off in this game. In the first quarter, the Patriots trailing 7-0. Patriots ball on their own 38. Songen's pass is to Stevens. It's a beauty. Stevens all the way down to the 9-yard line before Johnson and Wagstaff can finally nail him. Second down, goal to go. Johnson and Colclough out wide. Flat pass on the right side to Christie. Christie takes it on the 10 and goes all the way into the end zone for the touchdown. Cappelletti kicked the point to even up the score. 7-all. 2 minutes into the second quarter. Ball on the 37. Hand off to Christie. Mac Yoho breaks through to make the tackle. And it's 2nd and 6 in the 41. Miller carrying. Straight ahead. He picks up a first down. The ball in Buffalo territory. Over the 50-yard line. 11 minutes left in the half. Songen carries and picks up another first down for the Boston Patriots. Herga and Atkins make the stop. Ball on the 20, 1st and 10. Score 14-7. Buffalo in front. Songen back to pass. Throws to Miller. And it's good for a first down by about 3 yards. Third down, 3.5 minutes left in the first half. Miller carrying straight ahead for another first down for the Patriots. The Patriots on the move. Ball in the 22. Songen's pass intended for Oscar Lofton in the end zone. Incomplete. But wait, a flag on the play. Interference called against Buffalo. That puts the ball on the 1-yard line and gives the Boston Patriots possession. First down, goal to go from the 1 for the Patriots. Hand off to Christie. He plunges. Does he make it? No, he's inches away. Buffalo fans aren't happy. Inches to go, second down. Songen on a sneak, and he scores, making it 13 for the Patriots. Cappelletti makes the conversion for a tie game, 14-all. In the third quarter, 8 minutes to go, 2nd and 10. Buffalo's ball on the 20. The pass is to Carlton. And he moves down inside the 10-yard line for a first and goal. Patriots in a tough spot. Carlton drilling the right side. But Hunt, Smith, D, and Addison all in to make the stop. 7.5 to go for the Bills. Richie Lucas fading back. Decides to run. Merely gets away from the outside corner man of the Patriots and moves into the end zone for a touchdown. His best play of the season made it Buffalo 21, the Patriots 14. At the Patriots headquarters in Kenmore Square, reporters from Greater Boston's newspapers and radio stations gather for a news conference. Publicity director for the Patriots is veteran newsman Jerry Moore.
Well, thanks, fellas, for coming to another press conference of the Patriots. And we're very pleased to announce today the signing of Big Larry Eisenhower, the Boston College boy, whom the Navy coaches say was the best lineman the Navy faced all year. At the same time, two of our old standbys, now that we're a year old. On my left, Alan Miller, played a lot of fullback for us. On my right is Tommy Addison out of South Carolina, who was voted All-Star linebacker in our league, will now be employed full-time by the Patriots as goodwill ambassadors.
The men of the Fourth Estate have been enthusiastic supporters of the Boston Patriots since the club was organized. And as for the fans, 27,000 of them turned out on the night of November 25th to see the Patriots play the Houston Oilers. History was made this night. The BU Stadium was filled to capacity, the first sellout game of the American Football League. You could feel the excitement in the air. With 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, 3rd and 10, Songen back to pass. Being rushed, throws to Christie on the 35. Mike Dukes makes the tackle, but a flag on the play. A 15-yard penalty against the Patriots. Illegal use of the hands on offense. The ball on the 36-yard line. A quick flare pass to Christie. He's hit. Gets away. Look at him go. Gets away again. It's almost impossible, but you're watching it. Beautiful blocking. Christie finally nailed by Morrison Shirker on the 32-yard line. What a play. In the second period, no score. 1st and 10 on the 21. Songen to Christie. He goes straight ahead for a first down on the 35. Trask and Allen make the stop. "23 yards later, 1st and 10 for the Patriots on their own 42. That's Stevens on the sidelines, and he's nailed on the 45, but a 13-yard gain and another first down. Songen coming right back. This time to Johnson on the 39, a pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4 in Houston territory. The Patriots rolling in the second quarter. Songen this time with a long one to Christie on the 20-yard line, and another first down for the Boston Patriots. 1st and 10 to go. Hand off to Christie. He's got Stevens on the 9-yard line. Throws. It's complete. And Spence is there to knock Stevens out on the 8-yard line. 4th down with the Patriots on the 8. They try for a field goal. Gino Cappelletti kicking, and it's good. The Patriots go out in front, 3-0. A minute and 15 seconds left in the half. Houston steamroll to the 8 in Patriots territory. Here Houston's ball, 1st and goal. Jackie Lee with a handoff to Dave Smith, who throws in the end zone to Bill Groman for a touchdown. The kick was good, and it's Houston 7, the Patriots 3. The Patriots took it to the 27. Cappelletti tried for a field goal. Fred Bruni holding. It's a fake. The pass is to Lofton in the end zone, and a flag on the play. The breaks of the game, some of them tough to take. A perfect touchdown play called back. Houston took over the ball on downs. Now on the Patriots' 24-yard line, Jackie Lee back to pass. This time long to Billy Cannon in the end zone for a touchdown. And the Houston Oilers score again. Houston converted the point for a 14-3 score. Patriots ran it back to the 28-yard line. Now 2nd and 10, 6 minutes in the third quarter. Songen back to pass. It's to Stevens on the midfield stripe. But Spence pulls him out of bounds on the 49. The Patriots on the move once again. Again in the third quarter, Songen being rushed. Gets it away to Joe Johnson. Johnson's in the clear. That's Houston's Mark Johnson trailing, but Joe Johnson outruns him for the touchdown. Houston 14, the Patriots 10, with 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the third period. Houston lost the ball in a field goal attempt. The Patriots take over 1st and 10 in their 20. Songen passing to Johnson. And again, Johnson moves into Houston territory. Finally knocked down on the 38-yard line by Chuck Kendall, but the Patriots pick up 42 big yards. 3 plays later on a 4th down, the Patriots kick. It's high and deep. Ken Hall back to pick it off for Houston. He grabs it and he's drilled to the ground on the 14-yard line. Dropped right on the spot. In the last quarter, Houston with the ball. Attempting a field goal from the 15. Groman holding. Blanda's kick is good. And the Houston Oilers make it 17-10. With 8 minutes left in the game, Boston's ball on the 31-yard line. Here's Songen back to pass. Gets good protection. Throws to Crawford. Spence finally comes in to make the tackle on the 50-yard line. Three downs later, the Boston Patriots kick. So on a 1st down, Houston's Jackie Lee back to pass, gets plenty of time, and he hits Bill Groman on the 5-yard line. Shonda finally stops Groman on the 2. 1st and goal for the Houston Oilers. The Boston defense held, but on the 2nd down, a handoff to the fullback, Doug Klein. He cracks through for the touchdown, putting the Houston Oilers out in front. Houston kicked the point after, and the game ended Houston 24, the Patriots 10.
Professional football in Boston with the Boston Patriots brings autumn weekend thrills to thousands of sports fans. They come from miles around the Boston University field to see and to cheer. A sport, yes. So win or lose, sportsmanship is part of the game. But it's a professional sport, and win or lose, every effort is bent toward making it the best possible game. The future is important. Wherever they go, the Patriots are looking for the best, building a team to win, building today for tomorrow. Action, that's the word for football. Exciting action in every game. Things to remember for a long while, like a sensational 65-yard run. In the world of sports and in the world of business, professional football with the Boston Patriots is exciting and profitable for the individual and the community. The thousands of people who cheered the Patriots last season and the thousands who will cheer next season are the truth and encouragement of the team. The Boston Patriots.
You know, there's one question that bothers even the most learned sportscasters. What do football players actually talk about in a huddle? Let's take our mic in this Buffalo Bill huddle and listen.
Hey, fellas, I'm new here in the Niagara Frontier, and I'm looking for a place to bank. Can you help me out?
The Marine Trust Company's the place for you. They run a regular financial department store.
That's right.
No matter where you live or work in Western New York, there's a full-service Marine Bank office nearby.
Well, look, I hate to interrupt you executives, but the timekeeper's got an anxious look on his face.
Okay. Listen, let's make it play 62. And you financial wizards, remember, that's the number of offices Marine has for your banking convenience. Let's go get it.
Okay.
Years is a long time to wait for a friend. But the city of Buffalo waited, sometimes impatiently, and hoped, oft times against hope, for the return of professional football, gone since 1949. Suddenly, the waiting and the hoping were over. The season of 1960 would see the return of professional football to Buffalo. Yes, the Bills had indeed come home. Ralph C. Wilson, Jr. of Detroit was granted a franchise in the new America. He announced plans to locate in Buffalo. Many details had to be worked out quickly. Most pressing was the problem of a playing home for the Bills. Buffalo officials offered 100% cooperation. Thus, with a minimum of delay and negotiation, the lease for the stadium was signed in the office of Mayor Frank Sedita. An organization had to be formed immediately. Wilson selected his chief administrative officer, a man of vast experience, and he signed Dick Gallagher as general manager. The Bills moved into offices at 164 Franklin Street, but something terribly important continued missing until...
My name's Buster Ramsey, and I've come to coach the Buffalo Bills. What do you say, let's get started?
Ramsey wasted no time in acquiring a working staff. Pro veterans Harvey Johnson, Floyd Breezy Reed, and Bob Dove were signed on as assistant coaches. The Bills began to sign players. Richie Lucas, All-America from Penn State, Tennessee captain Joe Schaefer. Then Tommy O'Connell came into the fold, and over 80 additional contracts were to be received as time went on. Then there was the matter of equipment. Before long, Buster was up to his neck in pants, pads, jerseys, tape, socks, shoes, liniment, and 1,001 other supplies without which neither he nor equipment manager Ed Dingman could hope to operate.
As we progressed, I thought I'd go out and take a look at the stadium. This was my first look. I almost collapsed. I was sure we'd never play in 1960. But thanks to the wonderful efforts of so many people, everything was ready in time. Things were very hectic for the coaches getting started.
And there were tickets to be sold.
You do what you have to, though. But when training camp was ready to open, we were ready to go.
On July 11th, the Bills established headquarters for training at East Aurora's Roycroft Inn. The Seymour Knox Polo Field became the Bills' practice ground. Practice, practice, and more practice. And plenty of meetings, too, all designed to separate 35 men from the original 80 boys.
On July the 29th, the city laid out the welcome mat for the squad with a big parade.
Over 100,000 people lined Main Street to welcome the Bills back home and to wish them well the following evening's preseason opener with the Boston Patriots.
I wish we could have come through for all our fans from the start, but it wasn't to be. The team had many weaknesses we couldn't strengthen immediately. Injuries hurt us, and we didn't have much luck. I remember better than anyone, we lost 4 of our 5 preseason games, then 4 of our first 5 regular season contests. I've got some game action sequences over here that will show you better than I can explain what happened. I think you'll understand why I wasn't happy. Kill the lights, Breezy.
These consecutive plays in the opening game with the Titans at New York cost the Bills the services of quarterback Tommy O'Connell and then halfback Richie Lucas for the rest of the afternoon. The offensive line was a sieve. Bills replacement quarterback Bob Broadhead lost 11 on this play. Defensive mistakes gave veteran pros like the Titans' Don Maynard opportunities to make spectacular catches like this one. Smart quarterbacks like Al Doro made things tough for the Bills' eager but so inexperienced defensive linemen. He goes the distance here. This time, Doro in the white jersey sets up the winning New York score in the final 2 minutes against the Bills at Buffalo. He romps 16 yards on this play. Now from the 16-yard line, Doro rolls out, spots daylight, and is finally downed on the Bills' 1. He dives over for the score. Doro's touchdown wouldn't have meant a thing if, a few minutes earlier, Wilmer Fowler hadn't muffed a perfectly thrown touchdown pass from Tommy O'Connell.
Turn the lights on, Breeze, will you? Just like the second game with New York, there were a couple other games the coaches thought we might have won during the early part of the season. But we kept throwing the football in the other guy's hands, and that hurt us, especially in our home opener with Denver.
This interception cost the Bills a probable touchdown. Deep in Bronco territory, linebacker Buddy Allison picks off a Tommy O'Connell pass and carries it 65 yards. Alliston's interception may have cost the Bills a touchdown. Johnny Pyatt's theft was much more costly. It was the winning touchdown in Denver's 27-21 victory.
Our situation finally began to improve, though. A young quarterback, Johnny Green, joined us. He gave our club a big lift.
Green was honored as the American League's Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Oakland Raiders. Here he is in action. On the first play from scrimmage, Johnny pitches to Fowler. Wilmer scoots 42 yards to the Raiders' 38. On the very next play, Green passes to Ray Carlton, and the big fullback goes in for the score. It all takes 23 seconds. Here, Green fires the sideliner to Carlton for a 23-yard touchdown. At this point, it was probably getting a little bit monotonous for Eddie Erdlat, the Oakland coach. Nevertheless, Johnny hits Carlton for still another touchdown, this time a 32-yard screen. Green tops off a great afternoon's work with a 55-yard scoring pass to Albert DeBenyon.
Yes, Green played some fine football in 1960, and he should be better next season. He's a real fine prospect. But speaking of DeBenyon, I was proud of the way he came along. In training camp and in our early games, Doobie couldn't seem to do anything right. But with experience came confidence. Doobie turned in some exciting performances before the season was over.
As in this play, when he takes the 55-yard pass from Tommy O'Connell for 6 points against Denver. And here against the Titans, Doobie grabs a green pass and streaks between two defenders, 32 yards, and a touchdown. This Dubenian effort is really electrifying. 64 yards before Bobby Gordon angles him down on the Oilers' 15-yard line.
That play is worth another look in slow motion. Half the Houston team appears to have a clear shot at Dubenian.
It's snowy and cold in Buffalo in December. Doobie keeps the fans warm as he goes 66 yards on a reverse for a touchdown against the Boston Patriots.
I think the play that best shows Dubenian's open field ability happened in the final moments of the first half of the Denver game in September. We traveled 77 yards in 47 seconds, which proves something I've always said. In pro football, there's always time to score. I'm going to run the entire sequence because it also points up the value of an experienced quarterback like Tommy O'Connell, who refused to be panicked by the clock.
First, O'Connell hits end Tom Riley, who gets out of bounds with a 10-yard gain. Again, O'Connell to Riley to the Bills' 47. This time, O'Connell quickly to the Dubenian. Watch Doobie as he threads the far sideline. 53 yards and a touchdown. 14:59.
Let's take a look at that touchdown play again in slow motion. Yes, Dubenian is one of the most exciting players in football. He's got the potential to be one of the game's great stars. Watch him in 1961. We had another boy who was mighty valuable this past season. We traded a tackle, Al Crow, to Boston for fullback Ray Carlton, right after our opening preseason game. It turned out to be a fine deal for us. Carlton is everything a good fullback should be. Ray led us in scoring, ground gaining, and was way up in pass receiving. He was just about the best fullback in our league, in my opinion. Here are some shots of Carlton in action.
Carlton finds a hole, cuts left, and outraces the Titans secondary 54 yards, the Bills' second longest run from scrimmage. Here, Ray picks up 21 yards against New York on his favorite fullback draw play.
You'll see some more of Ray Carlton, especially in the Bills game with Houston at War Memorial Stadium coming up next. That game was one of the most exciting I've ever seen. The fact we won 25-24 before our largest home crowd added to my happiness.
After Houston scores, Carlton executes the draw for 10 yards. On the very next play, quarterback Johnny Green, anticipating Houston would have the rush on again, screens perfectly to Carlton. Ray goes 70 yards down the sideline for the Bills' first touchdown. The Houston game has everything, including linebacker Archie Matzo's 25-yard return of a very short Houston punt to the Oilers' 10. On the next play, it's Green to Dick Brubaker for a lead Buffalo touchdown. Matzos makes two tremendously important interceptions. Here he picks off George Blanda's pass and carries it 33 yards. Archie won the league's most valuable defensive award for his performance. Houston does some scoring too. Watch All-America Billy Cannon. 58 yards on this pass from George Blanda. This 45-yard field goal by Bill Atkins in the fourth period makes it 24-22. Late in the game, a Green to Carlton screen pass carries 36 yards to the Oilers' 3. It sets the stage for the winning point. 15-yard field goal by Atkins.
It was a real good game, but we played an even better game out on the coast 3 weeks later against Los Angeles. If you recall, the Bills beat Los Angeles 32-3. It was a fine two-way effort. Our defense, however, was particularly outstanding.
Defensive ends Mac Yoho and Captain Laverne Torson. Tackles Jim Sorey and Chuck McMurtry. Halfbacks Richie McCabe and Jimmy Wagstaff were particularly effective. Here they are in action in some of the game's key plays. McCabe kills off an early Los Angeles drive with this interception on the Bills' 15. Watch Big Jim Sorey as he dumps all-league halfback Paul Lowe for a 6-yard loss. On the next play, Matzos and Torson combine to throw Kemp for another 18. Later on, the Bills again exert tremendous pressure on Kemp. The L.A. quarterback runs out of the pocket, and Yoho finally gets him for a 24-yard loss. This obviously upsets the Charger field general. Jack on the next play throws. Archie Matzos intercepts. And here comes Archie right into camera on his touchdown run. Here, Jimmy Wagstaff makes one of his many important contributions. This interception leads to a Bill touchdown 4 plays later. Buffalo was percolating offensively, too. Here's a sensational pass play. 49 yards, Johnny Green to M. Dan Chambers. Watch linebacker Joe Herger here. He puts the horse collar on Kemp. The L.A. quarterback's pass is intercepted by Matzos. Archie laterals to Wagstaff, and Jim carries it back 17 yards into Charger territory.
Wagstaff's play against the Chargers earned him the American League's Outstanding Defensive Player Award. After the Los Angeles game, we went to Denver for the final game of our 3-game Western swing. What happened out there bears reviewing, if for no other reason than I can't believe it myself.
Explosive offensive plays like Wilmer Fowler's first period 61-yard gallop made it a cakewalk for the Bills for almost 3 complete quarters. And here's DeVenion taking a quick pass from O'Connor. A fake, a few artful dodges, a reverse of field, and Doobie's away. 76 yards for the score. Watch the block on the last Denver defender by end Al Hoytington.
Let's look at this play again in slow motion. Watch DeVenion fake this defensive halfback.
On defense, the Bills were just as tough. Mac Yoho intercepts Frank Trapuka's pass and scores with an assist to Torson, who deflects the ball. Richie McCabe intercepts on the 19-yard line in this play. The interception sets up Wilmer Fowler. First play, the speedy halfback finds a hole, cuts in, and he's over.
Things were really going along fine. We were leading 38-7 at this point, and then the skies fell in.
This is the play that started it. Trapuka hits end Lionel Taylor with a little quick pass. Lionel gets away at the line of scrimmage. He ends up with an 80-yard touchdown run. Early in the fourth period, Trapuka passes to halfback J.C. Broadnax for 19 yards. Then, Taylor again on a little screen, and the great end carries for a 24-yard touchdown. By this time, the panic was on. Here, Taylor makes a magnificent catch of the pass from Trapuka and goes in. Play travels 35 yards.
They scored again to make it 38-35. Then, with a minute and 12 seconds left, we had to punt. Denver was on its own 34-yard line, 66 yards away. They ran 8 plays in 1 minute to set up their tying field goal with 4 seconds left. Here's how they did it.
The Trapuka pass is incomplete. Next, Archie Matzos gets in front of a Trapuka effort and almost intercepts. But then Trapuka hits Taylor, and the Denver end carries to the Buffalo 45. Another Denver pass. Incomplete, but interference is called against Matzos. Trapuka throws for 11 yards to Greer on the Bills' 20-yard line. Then on the far sideline to flanker back Ken Carpenter. Trapuka fades again. He throws too long out of bounds. Defensive halfback Bill Atkins makes a great save on this play to prevent a touchdown. The kicking specialist Gene Mingo unlimbers for the 19, and it's all tied up.
It was a long plane ride home that night. Matter of fact, we never did get home. We had to land in Cleveland and come in the next day. Many of our fans wondered why we weren't able to use Richie Lucas more effectively this season. Well, Richie hurt his foot in our first game with New York, and it never did heal completely. It pained Richie to run. But on a road trip to Texas against Houston and Dallas, he did some fine work. I'm really encouraged that next year he's going to be of great help to us. The boy has exceptional all-around talent.
Richie in action at Dallas. He passes to end Dan Chamberlain for 12 yards on this play. Now watch as he spots fullback Ray Carlton. Carlton grabs the pass and picks up 12 more yards. Lucas can't find a receiver, so he takes off himself. 16 yards later, he's down. Later on, Richie starts another drive by passing to end Monty Crockett for 12 yards. Dallas has a pretty good rush on here, so Richie tucks the ball under and takes off once again. He picks up 14 yards. Early in the second period, Tommy O'Connell comes in to engineer one of Buster's pet plays, the fake field goal. The short pass is to Carlton, cuts down the near sideline to the Dallas 12-yard line. Then it's Lucas once again, and Richie polishes off the scoring drive by keeping the last 7 yards for the touchdown.
Get the lights, Breezy. That just about wraps up the season, folks. We tried to make a film that would show some of the highlights and the lowlights too, and include outstanding individual performances. I hope you enjoyed it. Next year the Bills will be back again, and I think we'll be a lot stronger and far more ready to contend for the Eastern Division Championship. The coaching staff knows the weaknesses that must be corrected. We are doing our very best to correct them. We've signed some of the best college players in the country. And I'm looking forward to 1961 with much enthusiasm. I hope you are too.
Hi, I'm Chuck Burr, Director of Public Relations for the Buffalo Bills, with a reminder that right now is the time to reserve your choice season ticket locations for 1961. Remember, all season ticket orders are filled on a first-come, first-served basis. So why not take advantage of the Bills' deferred season ticket payment plan? $10 down on each ticket will reserve your seats in any price range, $35, $28, or $21, and you have until June 1st to pay the balance. Like Buster Ramsey says, 1961 is going to be a most exciting season. I hope to see all of you at the games. These consecutive plays in the opening game with the Titans at New York cost the Bills the services of quarterback Tommy O'Connell and then halfback Richie Lucas for the rest of the afternoon. The offensive line was a sieve. Bills' replacement quarterback Bob Broadhead lost 11 on this play. Defensive mistakes gave veteran pros like the Titans' Don Maynard opportunities to make spectacular catches like this one. Smart quarterbacks like Al Doro made things tough for the Bills' eager but so inexperienced defensive lineman. He goes the distance here. This time, Doro in the white jersey sets up the winning New York score in the final 2 minutes against the Bills at Buffalo. He romps 16 yards on this play. Now from the 16-yard line, Doro rolls out, spots daylight, and is finally downed on the Bills' 1. He dives over for the score. Doro's touchdown wouldn't have meant a thing if, a few minutes earlier, Wilmer Fowler hadn't muffed a perfectly thrown touchdown pass from Tommy.
5 days later, the Broncos conclude their Eastern tour with a storybook finish in reverse at the Polo Grounds against the Titans of New York. It was an unbelievable finish as the Broncos led 24-21 with 24 seconds to play when a blocked punt results in a loose ball. Roger Donahue pounces on it and runs into the end zone. The conversion is good. There are 15 seconds to play, and the Titans win 28-24.
2 weeks later, the Oilers trailed the New York Titans 7-6 when veteran pro quarterback George Blanda fires one to Bill Groman for 50 yards gain. Facing third and goal now, Blanda again goes to the airwaves for the necessary 6 yards and 6 points, hitting Jack Atchison for the score that gains back the lead. New York forges ahead 14-13, but a blocked field goal attempt sets the Oilers up at the Titan 38, from which point Billy Cannon slashes off right in for 25 valuable yards. 6 plays against the stubborn Titan defense, moves the ball to the 1, and Cannon blasts away for the final yard and his first touchdown as a pro for a 2014 Houston lead. Still in the ball game on the last play of the third quarter, the Titans' Dick Jamieson fires complete to Dewey Bowling. But the tough Oiler defense forces a fumble and tackles Jerry Hedlund comes up with the ball. The teams change ends for the final stanza. Watch now as Charlie Toller turns the corner behind a fine Bob Salamini block and thrills the South End customers with a 40-yard sprint to pay dirt as the Oilers win 27-21 to retain the Eastern Division lead.
Carlton finds a hole, cuts left, and outraces the Titans secondary for 54 yards. The Bills' second longest run from scrimmage. Here, Ray picks up 21 yards against New York on his favorite fullback draw play.
After 4 straight home games, the Oilers move to the Polo Grounds at New York for a rematch with the Titans. New York quarterback Al Doro with Mike Bute in hot pursuit rolls out on the opening drive of the game. He slips, trying to avoid Julian Spence. Temper, Albert. Now it's Doro to Art Powell for 6 points, and the game is only 4 minutes old. Bill Shockley kicks off for the supercharged Titans. Get ready now for fireworks. Kenny Hall slips 4 yards deep in the end zone. But watch as the Texas Aggie and Sugarland great deflate New York hopes on this 104-yard touchdown gallop. It stands through the season as a league record. In the second quarter, New York pulls up to a 7-point deficit as Blanda hits Groman on a 40-yarder to set up the score. Reluctant to break up a winning combination, Blanda hits Groman in the end zone. But New York strikes back with Dick Jamieson throwing 44 yards to Art Powell to narrow the count to 35-28. A circus catch. Seeking to put this scoring lead out of reach of the Titans, Blanda picks out Charlie Hennigan for this 41-yard offering early in the fourth quarter. 4 plays later, Hennigan again is Blanda's choice, and this time it's 6 points for the Oilers and a wild 42-28 victory in the Polo Grounds.
Gilman goes to Gotham. Having won 2 in a row, the Chargers are the guest of Sammy Baugh's New York Titans. This is the last of a 3-game road trip, and by winning this one, the Chargers can go home in first place. And here's a break for the Chargers. Jack Kemp at quarterback. Rolls out to his right. Throws long. The ball bounces off of a Titan defender into the hands of Dave Kasurik for a 52-yard gain. Fullback Howie Ferguson drives over right guard for the touchdown. Noted for his bullet passes, Kemp fires one to Kasurik this time, and Dave bulls his way for 18 yards. A coach's dream, this play, a play designed to go all the way, and it works to perfection as Paul Lowe hightails it right through the middle of the New York line and goes 62 yards untouched. Middle linebacker Charlie Bruckman shows his alertness as the Chargers' Red Dog New York quarterback Al Doro causing a Titan fumble with Bruckman recovering. Now watch Kemp's wizardry as he fakes to the halfback. Throws the Titan line off balance and scoots 17 yards to the New York 1-yard line. Beautiful fake. Kemp survived that crash. Now lunges over for 6 big points. And the Chargers win their 3rd straight, beating New York 21-7.
With 2nd and 6 from their own 49, Al Doro, the former Michigan State star, hits Don Maynard, who goes to the Denver 8. Dewey Bowling picks up 3 yards. And Doro throws to Art Powell for the score. On the first play after the kickoff, Trapuka's pass is deflected, and Don Mumley grabs it off and goes 26 yards for the second New York out. In the middle of the third quarter, New York leads 21-7, and the Broncos have a 2nd and 10 on their own 27. Taylor takes a Trapuka aerial to the Denver 42. And now Carpenter takes one to the New York 40. This next pass finds Taylor being tripped, and a pass interference call gives the Broncos a first down on the Titan 8. A screen pass to Raleigh loses 7, but Lionel Taylor grabs the next one in the end zone, and it's 21-14. The Titans pick up a field goal and a touchdown and lead 30-14 when the Broncos begin to roll again, this time with a 4th down and 4 on the New York 46. Greer takes a pass to the 38. Taylor takes this one to the 27. Larry Grantham intercepts a Trapuka pass on the 7, slips, gets up, and is hit with savagery by Gene Mingo. He fumbles, and Mingo recovers as Grantham is out cold and has to be carried off the field. It was possibly the hardest single tackle of the year. On this next play, Tripp passes to Mingo in the left flat for a touchdown. A few moments later, after a pass interception by Skip Doyle, the Broncos move to the New York 7, where Taylor takes a Trapuka pass for the final score of the day, and the Titans triumph in another squeaker, 30-27.
For the final league game of the season, Western Division champions, the Chargers met the Titans of New York. New York was assured of second place in the Eastern Division. One of the great runs of the season, Lowe starts around right end, runs into trouble, completely reverses his field, and races for 25 yards and a touchdown. And there's a close-up of a great halfback, Paul Lowe. Kemp now takes to the air, spots Dave Kasurik, and it's good for 21 yards. What a competitor that Kasurik is. Again, Kemp takes to the air as Norton catches his pass. The Titan defender misses Don, and he walks into the end zone. One of the key to the Charger success this year was defensive back Jimmy Sears, one of the great punt returners of the league. Watch him come back this time to set up a Charger touchdown. Man to bring down Mr. Sears. One of the most improved players in the last half of the season was in Don Norton. Here he catches his second touchdown pass from Jack Kemp. Fullback Blanche Martin, formerly of Michigan State, was on the receiving end of this Kemp touchdown pass. As you can see, Blanche came to an abrupt stop thanks to that goal post. Halfback Freddie Ford shows he too can carry the mail. Rambles 14 yards to the New York 5-yard line. Kemp now on a keeper play, skirts the right end, and outruns the defense for the touchdown. And the Chargers finish their league with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses.
Our first year in professional football was both nerve-wracking and gratifying. Abner Haynes and Johnny Robinson kept all the Texan fans on the edge of their seats throughout the season and still managed to make the big plays in what was really a spectacular season. Our partner in this highlight show is the Murray Insurance Agency. Here is their general manager, Bill Ross.
We of the Murray Insurance Agency are pleased to be associated with Lamar Hunt and his Dallas Texans. We wish him the best of success for 1961. It is with pleasure that we present the highlight film of the Dallas Texans 1960.
From a dream to reality in just 1 year. Head coach Hank Stram, Dallas Texans of the American Football League. At left halfback, number 28, Abner Haynes, the American Football League Player of the Year, and one of the reasons Hank Stram's Dallas Texans fashioned a successful 8-6 record for second-place honors in the Western Division. The AFL in rushing with a total of 875 yards and 156 carries, including the league record for a one-game performance of 157 yards and 11 carries. Abner's longest gain from scrimmage was 67 yards. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry for the 14-game league season. Abner Haynes was the only player in the American Football League to win the Outstanding Offensive Player of the Week award on successive weeks. He turned the trick for his performance at Denver on October 30th and at Buffalo on November 6th. Jack Spike, David Webster, Dwayne Wood, Ray Collins, Paul Rochester, and Cotton Davidson were the other Texans who won Player of the Week recognition. Haynes scored 12 touchdowns behind the blocking of Bill Kreischer, Marvin Terrell, Jim Barton, Jerry Cornelison, Jack Stone, Charlie Diamond, Al Reynolds, and this pass opener by Sid Fournette. Abner Haynes, along with Bill Kreischer, Mel Branch, and Gerald Hedrick, were selected to the official American Football League first team, with Texans Paul Miller and David Webster receiving second-team honors. Haynes ranked 5th in the American Football League in receiving, catching 55 passes for 576 yards and 3 touchdowns. Abner stands 5'11" and weighs 185 pounds. He started his football career at Lincoln High School in Dallas. Haynes led the league in punt returns, 14 for 215 yards, a 15.4-yard average. He played his collegiate ball at North Texas State, where he was Missouri Valley Conference Back of the Year in 1958 and 59. Abner Haynes ranked 8th in kickoff returns, 19 for 434 yards, a 22.8-yard average. His longest of the year was against the Buffalo Bills when he journeyed for 82 yards at the opening of the second half. Abner Haynes, one of the most spectacular performers in all of professional football. Number 30, Jack Spike, 6'2", 220 pounds, from Snyder, Texas, an All-American fullback in 1959 at Texas Christian University.
this past year the number 3 scorer in the American Football League with 103 points. Spike caught 11 passes for 158 yards, scored 5 touchdowns, booted 34 of 36 extra points, and split the uprights with 13 field goals, his longest a 46-yarder. Spike ranked 10th in rushing in the AFL with a total of 457 yards and 115 carries, a 4-yard average. Jack Spike of the Dallas Texans. At right halfback, number 42, Johnny Robinson, 6 feet even, 195 pounds, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and a member of the LSU Tigers National Championship Ball Club. Robinson was ninth in rushing in the American Football League, gaining 458 yards and 98 carries, a 4.8-yard average. His longest gain from scrimmage covered 49 yards. Johnny was the Texans' third highest scorer with 54 points from 9 touchdowns, 5 on the ground and 4 through the air. Robinson was the Big D Ball Club's number 3 receiver, gathering in 41 tosses for 611 yards. A major cog in Coach Hank Stram's offensive machine, he figured in the Texans' 2 longest pass plays of the year. 74 yards against the Buffalo Bills, and this 72-yarder against the New York Titans. Robinson ranked second only to Abner Haynes in punt returns in the league, 14 for 207 yards, a 14.8-yard average. The sensational Johnny Robinson, Texan of many talents. At quarterback, number 19, Cotton Davidson from Gatesville, Texas, and Baylor University, the number 5 passer in the AFL. He went aloft 379 times and was on target 179 for a total of 2,474 yards and 15 touchdowns. His best day from the launching pad was against the Buffalo Bills in the season closer, when he completed 18 of 37 for 334 yards and 2 touchdowns. Davidson booted 8 of 8 conversions, 1 field goal, and was the second-ranked punter in the league with a 39.4-yard average. His longest effort was a 66-yarder. The rifleman, Cotton Davidson. The Murray Insurance Agency is happy to bring you this highlight film and know that you are enjoying it just as customers of Murray Insurance enjoy doing business with this independent agency where you're given service throughout the life of your policy. Murray Insurance Agency offers a monthly payment plan tailored for your convenience. At split end number 88, Chris Burford, 6'3", 210 pounds, from Oakland, California, and Stanford University, where he was an All-American and led the nation in pass receiving in 1959. Perhaps Burford's best game was against the New York Titans when he caught 7 for 87 yards and 1 touchdown. Burford wound up the AFL's first season as the 8th-ranked receiver, catching 46 passes for 789 yards and 5 touchdowns. His average of 17.2 yards per catch placed him 3rd in the league in that category. Burford, who makes a spectacular and everyday occurrence. At right end, number 80, Max Boydston, 6'1", 215 pounds, from Muskogee, Oklahoma, and the University of Oklahoma, an All-American in 1954. A tough runner once he had the ball, Boydston caught 29 passes for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns. After the final game of the 1960 season, Max announced his retirement from professional football. He'll be hard to replace. Coach Hank Strand's secondary picked off 32 interceptions during the season, just 1 off the pace set by the Buffalo Bills. Number 21, David Webster, led the way with 6 for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. His 6 steals ranked him 4th in the league in that department and got him all-league recognition at defensive halfback. Webster also holds the AFL record for an interception return, an 80-yarder against the Oakland Raiders in the Cotton Bowl. Number 56, Walt Torrey, got 3 interceptions. Ted Green, number 54, stole 3 passes. Number 18, Don Flynn, got 3 and a touchdown at Buffalo. John Bookman, number 22, hauled in a total of 4.
Jimmy Harris, number 44, short-circuited 2 tosses. And number 48, Dwayne Wood, gathered in 4 in this 66-yard touchdown against the Boston Patriots. Clement Daniels, Cheryl Hedrick, and Bob Hudson added to the Texan total of 32 steals. The devastating Dallas defense ranked first in the league against rushing, allowed their opponents an average of only 70 yards through 14 league games, and featured the toughest tackling in the American Football League. Coach Hank Strand's defense was the only one in the American Football League to fashion 3 shutouts. 2 of them were molded over the champions of the Eastern and Western divisions. The Texans whitewashed the Houston Oilers 24-0. The Los Angeles Chargers 17-0, with a third one over the Boston Patriots 34-0. The Texan Reception Committee, probably the toughest forward wall in the American Football League, consisted of number 86, Captain Paul Miller, number 72, Paul Rochester, number 71, Ray Collins, number 87, Mel Branch, number 76, Buffalo Napier, and number 66, Dick Fry. They were backed by the thundering 3, all-league linebackers Cheryl Hedrick, Smokey Stover, and Ted Green. A tough defense and a great offense were the Texans' secret of success. But behind that secret was the second line, ready to take over at any time. Such men as Hunter Ennis, Bo Dickinson, Curly Johnson, and Ed Burnett gave the Texans the best combination punch in the American Football League. A highlight of the Texan games this season was the best halftime in professional football, featuring the fabulous Dallas Texans under the direction of Arnadine Bolton. Now meet Miss Dallas Texan of 1960, the beautiful Miss Kay Sutton. The folks of Dallas and Tarrant counties have been served by the independent agent displaying the Big I, Murray Insurance Agency, a firm that guarantees your satisfaction on insurance. Let one of Dallas's oldest and finest insurance agencies serve you with a Murray man to stand beside you as your independent insurance agency. The Broncos were 4th in the Western Division with a 4.91 record. Frank Tripucka passed for an amazing 3,038 yards, 24 touchdowns, and a 51.9% completion average. Bronco end Lionel Taylor caught 92 passes, an all-time professional football record, and Gene Mingo led the AFL in scoring with 123 points. The Buffalo Bills were 3rd in the Eastern Division with a 5-8-1. Quarterbacks Johnny Green, Tommy O'Connell, and Richie Lucas led their passing parade. Head coach Buster Ramsey's Wreckers were the league's best defensive outfit. The Oakland Raiders were 3rd in the Western Division with a 6-8 record. Tom Flores was ranked 6th in passing in the AFL. Jetstream Smith stood 4th in kickoff returns, and Tony Teresa was the number 5 rusher. Split in Al Goldstein was a threat both as a receiver and as a ball carrier on a flanker reverse. The New York Titans' Al Doro was the second best passer in the American Football League, leading the league with 26 touchdown tosses and firing for a 50.8% completion record. Don Maynard was his favorite receiver, fielding 72 for 6 touchdowns. The Titans sported a 7-7 record, good for second place in the Eastern Division. The Los Angeles Chargers were the Western Division standard bearers with a...
In early 1961, the San Diego City Council, meeting an executive session in the council chambers, invited the Chargers to come to San Diego. Speaking before the council was owner Baron Hilton. Also, Charger business manager Les Land. And on the left, general manager and head coach Sid Gilman. After various meetings in the council chambers, in the mayor's office, and in meetings between the mayor and Baron Hilton, the mayor of San Diego informed the Charger owner that the council had voted unanimously to authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with the Chargers. Now the San Diego Chargers are a reality and will play their games in remodeled Balboa Stadium in the fall of 1961. But now, let's look at the explosive, the exciting San Diego Chargers in the highlights of their games in the 1960 season.
That was a pretty exciting way to start a season, wouldn't you say? That great run of Paul Lowe's? Well, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm Tom Harmon, your Charger broadcaster. You know, as you look back at the year of 1960, you probably remember a great many sports events. However, I doubt that anything was more important than the establishment of the American Football League. The fans all over the country were exposed to great Major League Football, many cities for the first time. The San Diego Chargers were one of the most exciting of the American Football League teams. The Chargers in their first year won the Western Division Championship. They placed 5 men on the All-League team. Baron Hilton and Sid Gilman gave the Charger fans a championship team right off the bat. So if we may, let's turn back the pages of 1960 and take a look at a really exciting football team in action. A new league, 8 new teams, the beginning of an era as the American League football fans sit back to await the action. On September 10th, 1960, the new American Football League became a reality. For on that night, the Chargers played host to the football team that was considered the best in the new league, the Dallas Texans. One of the finest faking quarterbacks in football today, Jack Kemp shows his artistry as he unleashes a 46-yard touchdown pass to end Ralph Anderson. Ralph Anderson, a great competitor. One of the outstanding offensive ends for the Chargers is Royce Womble, shown here on the receiving end of an 11-yard completion. Kemp shows his versatility. Finding no one to pass to, he elects to run and picks up 6 yards. Another versatile man in the Charger backfield is their great running back, Paul Lowe. Here, passing complete to Anderson for 24 yards. Again, Jack Kemp shows his lightning reflexes. He rolls out on this play around his left end for 7 yards, and watch him drive for that 6 points. The Chargers now threatening deep in the Texans' territory. Kemp fires a 15-yard bullet to Anderson, who fights for 5 more tough yards. On a great third down call situation, Kemp throws a touchdown strike to fullback Howie Ferguson. Is Coach Gilman happy? I'll say so, and the Chargers win their league opener, 21-20. On September 18th, the Chargers took their first league road trip deep to the heart of Texas to Houston to play the Oilers, who were favored to win the Eastern Conference crown. A false start here, almost. Back in time. Then Kemp cocks his arm and fires to Womble. Good for 25 yards and a touchdown. the moment, gloom hangs heavy over Houston. Former All-Pro halfback Ron Waller hauls in a Jack Kemp pass that's good for 23 yards. Another favorite Kemp target is Don Norton, the All-American from Iowa, who takes this 14-yard toss and fights toward the land of 6 points. The Oilers, expecting a run, are fooled as Kemp pitches to Anderson in the end zone for 6 points. And the Houston crowd wonders about this Charger team. A picture of perfection. Kemp drops straight back and throws a strike to end Howard Clark. Clark never breaks stride as he rambles for a 50-yard pass completion with a gentle assist from Charlie Flowers. Skilled master at his art, Kemp this time hits Royce Womble on the 7-yard line, and the ex-North Texas State star strikes gold in the Oiler end zone. And at this time, the Chargers don't even mind that Houston humidity. Kemp hits halfback Charlie Flowers up the middle, and the former Ole Miss All-American literally runs away from the defensive team for a 55-yard scoring play. Although quarterback Jack Kemp had one of his best days, the Oilers win the ball game by a score of 38-28. There it is. Chargers continue on their initial road trip as they head east to meet the Buffalo Bills without the services of Jack Kemp, who is benched with a shoulder injury. Kemp's understudy, Bobby Clatterbuck, destined to be the star of the day, leads the Chargers out of the huddle. Aided by a key block from guard Fred Cole, Clatterbuck connects to Lowe on a 19-yard screen pass. With no score in the second quarter and the Chargers threatening, Dave Kasurik outmaneuvers the Bills' defensive back to catch an 11-yard scoring shot. The Charger defensive unit was a standout today. Here linebacker Paul McGuire picks off a Tommy O'Connell pass and sets up a Charger score. Fullback Howie Ferguson gets the call, answers the phone, and gets 6 points for the visiting Chargers. Quarterback Bobby Clatterbuck, calling a brilliant game, now goes from the 7-yard line and sends fullback Charlie Flowers bolting through the line for 6 points. And the Chargers' first Eastern invasion is a successful one as they down the Buffalo Bills by a score of 24-10. That's the final. Following a humiliating 35-0 defeat by the Boston Patriots, the Chargers once again take to the road, this time stopping in Denver to meet the Broncos. Again, the versatility of quarterback Jack Kemp and halfback Paul Lowe comes to the fore as they combine to net the Chargers 56 yards. Look at that low run. Watch number 68 and 87 now on the next play. Orlando Ferrandi and Howard Clark throwing the key blocks to enable Lowe to jitterbug into the promised land. Touchdown. Kemp lays aside his famed bullet pass as he throws a perfect floater to Lowe, good for 24 yards. The grand old man of football, Booten Ben Agajanian, kicks a 47-yard field goal to further solidify the all-around offensive structure of the Chargers. With Orlando Ferrante showing him the daylight. Paul Lowe tears away from a would-be tackler and with Fred Cole riding shotgun, gallops into the Bronco end zone. And the Chargers win a close one over the Denver Broncos by a score of 23-19. 20 days later, the Chargers meet the team that had humiliated them by a 35-0 score, the Boston Patriots, with a 3-3 record. The Chargers have to find winning ways in order to stay in contention for the Western Division Championship of the new American Football League. The day, October 28th, filled with the spirit of Halloween, Kemp once again scares the opposition with a 19-yard aerial to Howard Clark. Kemp this time without going into the cup. Fakes the handoff, rolls out to his left, and fires a 27-yard completion to Ralph Anderson on the Boston 1-yard line. Beautiful catch by Anderson. One step back, 3 steps forward, and Kemp is in the Boston end zone for a touchdown. One of the defensive backfield coach's Jack Faulkner standouts is Dick Harris. Here he intercepts one of Boston quarterback Butch Songen's aerials and runs all alone, unmolested for 42 yards into the end zone for a Charger score. With our cameraman trying to dodge the ever-present light standard, quarterback Jack Kemp calls the signal. Hands it off to Paul Lowe on the fleet halfback from Oregon State. Runs untouched 76 yards for the 4th Charger touchdown of the evening. Once Mr. Lowe gets a yard, there's no catching him. One of the unsung heroes of the Chargers, Howie Ferguson, rated by Coach Gilman as football's best blocking fullback, takes the pitch out here and rambles 25 yards. The Chargers' most explosive runner, Paul Lowe, again shows his ability to break tackles, this time romping 69 yards before finally being pushed out of bounds by a Patriot defensive man. The run sets up a Charger field goal. To finish off the Boston Tea Party, Kemp serves. Ralph Anderson pours into the end zone for 6 points. And the Chargers win their second straight, defeating Boston 45-16. Gilman goes to Gotham. Having won 2 in a row, the Chargers are the guest of Sammy Baugh's New York Titans. This is the last of a 3-game road trip, and by winning this one, the Chargers can go home in first place. And here's a break for the Chargers. Jack Kemp at quarterback. Rolls out to his right. Throws long. The ball bounces off of a Titan defender into the hands of Dave Kasurik for a 52-yard gain. Fullback Howie Ferguson drives over right guard for the touchdown. Noted for his bullet passes, Kemp fires one to Kasurik this time, and Dave bulls his way for 18 yards. A coach's dream, this play, a play designed to go all the way, and it works to perfection as Paul Lowe hightails it right through the middle of the New York line and goes 62 yards untouched. Middle linebacker Charlie Bruckman shows his alertness as the Chargers' Red Dog New York quarterback Al Doro causing a Titan fumble with Bruckman recovering. watch Kemp's wizardry as he fakes to the halfback. Throws the Titan line off balance and scoots 17 yards to the New York 1-yard line. Beautiful fake. Kemp survived that crash. Now lunges over for 6 big points. And the Chargers win their 3rd straight, beating New York 21-7. The Chargers return from a successful road trip, winning all 3 on their way and finding themselves in a first-place spot in the Western Division. Playing on a curious mixture of sawdust and turf, Kemp finds his way back to the cup while Anderson finds his way into the open. Result, 34 yards and a touchdown. Here's the surprise package of the American Football League, All-League quarterback Jack Kemp. Defensive halfback Doyle Nix sets up a Charger offensive march, this time by intercepting George Blanda's pass. The tragic death of Ralph Anderson shocked sports fans across the nation. Here Ralph is shown in one of his many past receptions, followed by a close-up with Coach Sid Gilman. Blocking personified, Kemp has all the time in the world this time to pick out a receiver. Spots Howard Clark and zeroes in for 20 yards. Ouch, that hurt. The two sides of Paul Lowe, the players' view, the fans' view. And any way you look at it, Mr. Lowe is hard to catch. Here he rambles for 40 yards. And that's what makes an all-league halfback. After a brilliant run deep into Houston territory, the honors should go to Paul Lowe, and they do. Touchdown, Chargers. Youth was not served today as 41-year-old Ben Agajanian kicks a 22-yard field goal, the margin of victory, and the Chargers become the first team in the new American Football League to win 4 games in a row. Final score, Chargers 24, Oilers 21. After winning 4 in a row, the Chargers were soundly trounced by the Buffalo Bills. Their next outing was against the Oakland Raiders. A fake to Ferguson, a short flat pass, and Paul Lowe does the rest as he races 23 yards. From our field camera, Kemp slips to one knee in the muddy going, but fires complete to end Don Norton, good for 7 yards. Now watch Howie Ferguson batter his way for that touchdown. So the Sawdust Bowl is a happy one for Los Angeles fans. Here's a quick shot of Paul Lowe skirting his left end, good for 11 yards. Behind a wall of dark jerseys, Jack Kemp climbs over for the touchdown. With Howie Ferguson's block leading the way, springing Paul Lowe into the open, the Chargers rack up another 20 yards. Oh, how a running back loves those blockers. Now, once again, it's Paul Lowe's signal, running inside this time, and it's good for 6 points. Sid Gilman greets his great runner as he comes off the field. Oakland quarterback Vito Babe Pirelli sees the quarterback's nightmare take place as Doyle Nick intercepts and returns for a touchdown. The Chargers get back their winning stride, 52-28 over the Oakland Raiders. And the big scoreboard shows it. The next Sunday, the Chargers travel north to play the Oakland Raiders for the second week in a row. This game is played in Candlestick Park, the new home of the San Francisco Giants. Halfback Paul Lowe has an outstanding day. Here once again, Lowe shows his speed as he busts through the middle, virtually untouched, and races 45 yards before being dragged out of bounds. It's Occidental to Wisconsin now. Kemp to Kasurik, and the play nets the Chargers 27 yards. Another great Big Ten end, Don Norton from Iowa takes a Jack Kemp aerial. This one good for 21 yards and a touchdown. Jack Kemp once again is having a great day. He threads the needle to Dave Kasurik. This one good for 30 yards. Now watch this great play by Kemp. Being rushed badly, he still gets his pass away, hitting Paul Lowe, and the speedy halfback goes the rest of the way for 6 points. Showing no favoritism for his receivers, Kemp hits Norton. Don makes a brilliant catch between 2 Oakland defenders. Quarterback Kemp now on a rollout. Goes around right end and runs the remaining 6 yards for a touchdown as the Chargers pull away from the Raiders. Linesman's dream to score a touchdown. Just watch as Oakland quarterback fumbles. Linebacker Rami Loud gathers up the pigskin, and there goes Rami all the way to the lineman's dream of scoring 6 points. The Chargers, assured of a tie, can wrap up the Western Division crown of the American Football League with a win over the Denver Broncos. The Chargers rolled early. Kemp passes to fullback Howie Ferguson, and Howie goes all the way for 6 points. Beautiful catch, and look at Big Howie pick him up and lay him down. Head coach Sid Gilman has a word of encouragement for Howie as he comes off the field. Jack Kemp will give any defensive outfit a fit. Here he can't spot a receiver, decides to run. And then points out his blocks and moves for 25 yards deep into Denver territory. The Chargers' money back, Paul Lowe, once again proves his value as he skirts the left end and goes for 27 yards before Bud McFadden, the great Denver lineman, finally drags him down. Jack Kemp now spots Royce Womble. All alone on the 5, hits him, and Royce goes in for the score. Spectacular play by Kemp. As he's falling, he flips to fullback Howie Ferguson. And Howie gets 15 yards. The Charger defensive team was one of the finest in the league. Watch their importance in this game. Trapuka back to pass. It's intercepted by Maurice Schleicher and returned deep to Denver territory. With that great defensive team setting it up, the offensive team comes in to finish off the job. Kemp this time passing to Norton, and it's good for a touchdown. And the Chargers clinch the Western Division by beating the Denver Broncos. There's the score, 41-33. For the final league game of the season, Western Division champions, the Chargers met the Titans of New York. New York was assured of second place in the Eastern Division. One of the great runs of the season, Lowe starts around right end, runs into trouble, completely reverses his field, and races for 25 yards and a touchdown. There's a close-up of a great halfback, Paul Lowe. Kemp now takes to the air, spots Dave Kasurik, and it's good for 21 yards. What a competitor that Kasurik is. Again, Kemp takes to the air as Norton catches his pass. The Titan defender misses Don, and he walks into the end zone. One of the keys to the Chargers' success this year was defensive back Jimmy Sears, one of the great punt returners of the league. Watch him come back this time to set up a Charger touchdown. A hard man to bring down, Mr. Sears. One of the most improved players in the last half of the season was Don Norton. Here he catches his second touchdown pass from Jack Kemp. Fullback Blanche Martin, formerly of Michigan State, was on the receiving end of this Kemp touchdown pass. As you can see, Blanche came to an abrupt stop thanks to that goal post. Halfback Freddie Ford shows he too can carry the mail. Rambles 14 yards to the New York 5-yard line. Kemp now on a keeper play, skirts the right end, and outruns the defense for the touchdown. And the Chargers finish their league with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses, so it's on to Houston and the championship game. The first championship game of the new American Football League. The Chargers, winners of the Western Division, travel to Houston, Texas to meet the Oilers, winners of the Eastern Division. The Chargers' most explosive runner, Paul Lowe, finds daylight and rambles for 30 yards. An old man of football, Ben Agajanian, puts the Chargers in front with this 22-yard field goal. Once again, it's Paul Lowe, this time for 20 yards around right end. And as all season long, Lowe proves to be one of the great running backs of football. Paul Lowe is called upon to be the Chargers' workhorse today. And he was up to the call, this time around right end for 9 yards. One of the other big guns on the Charger offense in the championship game is quarterback Jack Kemp. And one of his favorite targets is end Dave Kasurik, shown here teaming up for a 33-yard pass play. Right down the sideline. Paul Lowe slants into the end zone for the touchdown, but the Chargers lose to Houston in the championship game by a score of 24-16, but it was still a great season. So that wraps up the first season for the San Diego Chargers. I'm sure you fans will agree that Sid Gilman and his staff deserve a lot of credit for molding a championship team from scratch. Owner Baron Hilton and every member of the Charger official family have only one goal in mind, a championship team that the fans can be proud of. In future years, new stars will join Jack Kemp, Paul Lowe, and Ron Mix, as well as the other boys who performed so valiantly in 1960. Charger football is exciting football. Charger football is championship football at its best. So until next year, this is Tom Harmon saying, so long for now. I'll see you at the stadium.
The most exciting new development on the American sports scene came to life in 1960 with the birth of the American Football League. More than a year of preparation went into the new league before the first game was played, but the finished product surprised and delighted the sports-loving public. Teams at New York, Buffalo, Boston, Denver, Oakland, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Houston brought their fans an explosive, dramatic brand of football that assured ultimate success for the new league. K.S. Bud Adams, Jr., president of the Oilers, brought professional football to Houston and the Gulf Coast area, where the gridiron game is king of sports. Eventually, the hustling Oilers, under coach Lou Remkus, became the first champions of the American Football League. The road to the championship is the film story of that march to the title, beginning with Houston's first home appearance against Sid Gilman's Chargers, who will call San Diego home in 1961. Charger quarterback Jack Kemp has to add to his 7-0 lead with this long pass. But Mark Johnson has it figured differently for the Oilers. And in pro ball, you're never down till you're put down. Seizing the opportunity presented by Johnston's 33-yard return, All-League fullback Dave Smith set sail for 47 yards and the touchdown that ties up the ball game. Late in the first quarter, with the score tied at 7-all, Paul McGuire of the Chargers punts 50 yards to Billy Cannon. Watch now as the Bio Boomer, with a great block by Al Witcher right there, returns the compliment by scampering back 51 yards to the Los Angeles 27. Another of Louisiana's stout sons in the spotlight now as tank-like Charlie Toller carries Blanda's screen pass inside the 5-yard line to set up the go-ahead touchdown. Now Blanda shows the all-round ability that won him the league's Back of the Week honors 7 days earlier with his sneak for the score. Midway the third quarter, a Los Angeles fumble gives Houston the ball at the Charger 41, and Cannon moves it to the 2-yard line on this 39-yard sprint. While Cannon catches his breath, 5'7" Charlie Toller blasts it into the end zone for the touchdown that puts the game out of reach of the Chargers. But they never say die in pro football, and all-league quarterback Jack Kemp of Los Angeles strikes back with his 55-yard pass play to rookie Charlie Flowers as the Chargers go down 38-28 before the Oilers. Later, the Oilers trailed the New York Titans 7-6 when veteran pro quarterback George Blanda fires one to Bill Groman for 50 yards gain. Facing 3rd and goal now, Blanda again goes to the airwaves for the necessary 6 yards and 6 points, hitting Jack Atchison for the score that gains back the lead. New York forges ahead 14-13, but a blocked field goal attempt sets the Oilers up at the Titan 38, from which point Billy Cannon slashes off right in for 25 valuable yards. Six plays against the stubborn Titan defense moves the ball to the 1, and Cannon blasts away for the final yard and his first touchdown as a pro for a 20-14 Houston lead. Still in the ball game on the last play of the third quarter, the Titans' Dick Jamieson fires complete to Dewey Bowling. But the tough Oiler defense forces a fumble, and tackle Jerry Helluin comes up with the ball. The teams change ends for the final stanza. Watch now as Charlie Toller turns the corner behind a fine Bob Talamini block and thrills the South End customers with a 40-yard sprint to pay dirt, as the Oilers win 27-21 to retain the Eastern Division lead. The Dallas Texans come to Houston intent on stopping the Oiler drive for the Eastern Division title. Cotton Davidson back to throw. But linebacker Dennett Morris picks it off for Houston and returns it 26 yards. Two straight Blanda passes to Bill Groman coming up now. This 21-yarder moves it to the Dallas 14. Blanda to Groman again. Good for 12 yards to put the Oilers in scoring position. And now the rip-on ripper, Dave Smith, fights his way in for the game's first touchdown. Minutes later, the Texans miss fire on this pitch out to fullback Jack Spikes. And before it's over, everyone but the paying customers has a shot at it. Former Wisconsin All-American Dan Lanfear comes up with a hot potato for the Oilers on the 7. After a rushing play loses yardage, Blanda makes it look easy with a 9-yard toss to All-League end Groman in the Texan end zone, and the Oilers win it 20-10. After 4 straight home games, the Oilers move to the Polo Grounds at New York for a rematch with the Titans. New York quarterback Al Doro, with Mike Dukes in hot pursuit, rolls out on the opening drive of the game. He slips, trying to avoid Julian Spence. Temper, Albert. Now it's Doro to Art Powell for 6 points, and the game is only 4 minutes over. Bill Shockley kicks off for the supercharged Titans. Get ready now for fireworks. Kenny Hall slips 4 yards deep in the end zone. But watch as the Texas Aggie and Sugarland great deflates New York hopes on this 104-yard touchdown gallop. It stands through the season as a league record. In the second quarter, New York pulls up to a 7-point deficit as Blanda hits Groman on a 40-yarder to set up the score. Reluctant to break up a winning combination, Blanda hits Groman in the end zone. But New York strikes back with Dick Jamieson throwing 44 yards to Art Powell to narrow the count to 35-28. A circus catch. Seeking to put this scoring bee out of reach of the Titans, Blanda picks out Charlie Hennigan for this 41-yard offering early in the fourth quarter. 4 plays later, Hennigan again is Blanda's choice, and this time it's 6 points for the Oilers and a wild 42-28 victory in the Polo Grounds. At Buffalo's War Memorial Stadium, pregame talk is of Houston running away with the Eastern Division title, and fullback Dave Smith gives them food for thought with his 65-yard gallop to the Bills' 8-yard line. Two-fingered Charlie Hennigan makes it 7-0 Houston, hauling in George Blanda's pass. But screen passes like this 70-yarder from Johnny Green to Ray Carlton spelled doom for the league-leading Oilers this day. Two touchdown passes to Billy Cannon, including this 53-yarder in the third quarter, are not enough to offset the Bills' deadly screen passes, and Buffalo wins a 25-24 squeaker from the champions. November 20th, and heavy rains accompany the Denver Broncos to Houston, where the Oilers are directed by rookie quarterback Jackie Lee, replacing the injured George Blanda. Kenny Hall returns Denver's kickoff after the Broncs take a 3-0 lead on Gene Mingo's 37-yard field goal. General Jackie's first aerial offering as a starting pro quarterback is a 78-yarder to Bill Groman, tying the American Football League record. The defensive man slips, and Groman is long gone. But Lee's not through. Early in the second quarter, he's backed up to his own 8-yard line when he hits the second pass of the day, a 92-yarder to Groman that sets a new standard for passers in the AFL. Groman's mushy maneuver sets him free for the touchdown. Veteran pro quarterback Frank Tripucka has Denver on the move now when Oiler defensive back Jim Norton comes up with this interception that chokes off the drive. Lee jumps on the opportunity to break the Broncos back and deals out pass completion number 3. 73 yards to Charlie Hennigan as the Oilers win 20-10 with the long guns in pro football's version of victory at sea. The General from Cincinnati is still in the driver's seat the following week when the Oilers go to Boston to cinch a tie for the Eastern Division title before the AFL's first sellout crowd. And Jackie Lee starts it off with a 31-yard throw to Bill Groman against the sideline. Now Lee crosses up the Patriots with a handoff to Dave Smith, whose left-handed pass to Bill Groman spells touchdown for the Oilers and a 7-3 lead. Boston attempts a 32-yard field goal on 4th down, but a high snap from the center puts the Oilers in business at the Boston 41. 3 plays later, it's Jackie Lee to Heisman Trophy winner Billy Cannon for the touchdown. The Oilers leading 17-10 in the late minutes of the game, and the fans figure that Lee will stand pat on his lead. But the finest rookie quarterback in pro football crosses him up with a 40-yard bullseye to Bill Groman. Now Clemson's Doug Klein wrecks the Boston defense and the goalpost for a 24-10 Houston victory, cinching a tie for the divisional title. After losing at Dallas, the Oilers come home to Jefferson Stadium to try to wrap up the Eastern Division and get revenge against the Buffalo Bills. George Blanda is back at the helm now and delivers a 35-yard missile to Charlie Hennigan early in the first quarter. On the next play, Blanda shows he's wasting no time as he follows up with a 39-yard scoring pitch to Bill Groman, right on the fingertips. It gives the Oilers the early lead. Houston goes ahead 21-10 in the third quarter, and former All-American Richie Lucas tries to get the Bills back in contention. But his pass is picked off by the Oilers' Bobby Gordon on the last play of the quarter. When the Oiler drive stalls on the ensuing series, Groman tees the ball up for George Blanda, 53 yards away from the uprights. It's good for 3 points and the American Football League record for the distance. Now leading 24-10, Blanda calls for Dave Smith's left-handed running pass, and Bill Groman hauls it in for a 31-yard gain. Moments later, Smith tries the other end of the passing game as he clamps on to Blanda's screen pass, carrying it into the end zone for 6 points, running right over teammate Charlie Hennigan in the process. So the Oilers salt it away, 31-23 for the Eastern Division title. With their ticket to the championship game already pocketed, Houston closes out the regular season by entertaining the Boston Patriots. Kenny Hall brings John Green's punt back to the Boston 21. Now Billy Cannon sweeps the left side, fishing for 6 points. But this one is destined to fall 3 yards shy. The Patriots hold for downs. Watch a great fake by George Blanda on the field goal. A left-handed pass by Bill Groman. A great rolling catch by Baylor's Al Witcher, and it's touchdown Houston. In a wild third period, Butch Songen gets Boston back in the game with a 37-yard scoring heave to Oscar Lofton. Dennis Morris blocked the extra point, and Houston leads 13-6. Gino Capoletti then kicks off for the Patriots, and Billy Cannon accepts at the 12. Watch this one. The LSU All-American picks his way back on an 88-yard touchdown run. Four touchdowns in 5 minutes of playing time leave Boston ahead 21-20 as Butch Songen goes to the air. Jim Colclaw makes the catch, but the Oilers' Bobby Gordon jars him loose, and linebacker Dennis Morris shoestrings it for the interception. And what follows almost calls for United Nations intervention. With the truce restored, Jackie Lee returns to action, and his third play call means 6 points. Oilers with a direct hit to Dave Smith covering 40 yards. The 37-21 win gives Houston a season record of 10 wins and 4 losses, with the championship game 2 weeks away. It's January 1, 1961, and the first American Football League championship game in history comes to Houston, matching the Oilers against the Western Division champion Los Angeles Chargers. The Oilers take the field favored by less than a touchdown, despite late-season injuries that have robbed Coach Lou Rimkus of 3 starters. Feelings are high as Rimkus sends his troops against his own former boss, Los Angeles coach Sid Gilman. 2 Charger field goals leave Houston trailing 6-0 before George Blanda revs up the Oiler offense with his 38-yard down-the-middle pass to Billy Cannon. Now Blanda sends the veteran pass receiver John Carson down and out for a 13-yard gainer to keep the drive alive. When 2 plays fail to gain at the 17, Blanda throws a strike down the middle to Dave Smith, and the all-league fullback barrels in for one of the most dramatic touchdowns of the season to put Houston out in front. Houston leads 10-9 at the half. Ben Agajanian kicks off to open the third quarter. Billy Cannon returns to the Houston 45. Great power running. Two short stabs on the ground bring up 3rd down and 9, and Blanda goes through the air to reliable Bill Groman for 17 yards and the much-needed first down. Again, it's Blanda to Groman on a key play. This one for 13 yards, and the Oilers keep the game under control. When the drive sputters at the 8, Blanda goes back to the league's most valuable receiver on third down, and it's touchdown Bill Groman. But the Chargers strike back with all-league quarterback Jack Kemp. Jack covers most of the field looking for a target. Almost caught here by Dalva Allen. Continues to the launching pad. Fires, and Dave Kasurik is waiting 33 yards away to take it to the Houston 2. Then Kemp calls on the all-league halfback Paul Lowe to waltz in for the touchdown, and the Chargers trail 17-16 with Agajanian adding the extra point. Early in the fourth quarter, the Chargers are forced to kick from the Houston 45. The ball is killed at the Oiler 11, setting up the play of the year in the American Football League. Blanda faces 3rd and 9 with his back to the wall, but the old pro comes up with a play nobody was looking for. Billy Cannon takes the ball on the dead run over his shoulder and wins the foot race to pay dirt as more than 32,000 partisan fans go wild. Then Cannon, named the outstanding player of the game in a poll of press box observers, kills the clock on a routine carry as the Oilers sit tight on their 8-point lead. The scoreboard verifies it's Houston 24, the Chargers 16. And happy Houston fans pour onto the field to personally congratulate their champion Oilers, winners in the first big year of the American Football League.